Hi, Chef Joe with Healthy Kids Inc. and today we're going to be making quinoa stuffed peppers with a green salad. So, first things first, we have a larger pot here with a little bit of vegetable stock and some water. Could just be water or vegetable stock, either way. This is going to be to cook our peppers, which we'll get to in a minute. We have a smaller pot with some boiling vegetable stock. And what we're going to do is introduce our quinoa to the liquid. So we've got about 2 cups of vegetable stock to a cup of our quinoa. We're going to put our quinoa in because it's going to take about 12 to 15 minutes or so to cook. So let me give this a stir. I'm going to put the lid over. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit and allow it to kind of simmer away. All right, now we're ready to begin working with our peppers. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration how you can prepare these. Got a small bowl for a little bit of my waste here. What we're going to do is actually cut the pepper in half through the top, just like that. Now what I'm going to do, take a paring knife, and we're going to kind of remove the ribs from the pepper. Working carefully, and kind of use your knife to pry. Loosen it up a little bit. Now you could simply kind of stuff it just as it is, like this. You can clean it up really as much as you want. You can trim it and make it look really pretty, but for our purposes, that's really all we're looking for. So again, carefully pull that out. Most of this white bit you can easily just kind of pinch out with your fingers. Simple as that. So we're going to move on to the next one. Right in half. Sometimes be a bit more stubborn, so you just take the tip of your knife, you can kind of scrape. All right, so once you've gotten rid of all of the rib from the peppers, if you want, you can rinse them out. You don't really have to, but if you see any straggling seeds, you can. But at this point, we're ready to drop these in to our pot of boiling water or vegetable stock and just kind of soften them up a little bit before we stuff them and bake them. All right, at this point you can see the quinoa has soaked up 95% of the liquid. Still got a little bit there, but I'm going to allow it to cool and it'll continue to kind of cook. I've turned the heat off, so I'm going to cover this and allow it to just kind of finish on its own. All right, so now we're ready to put our peppers into the liquid. If you're really in a pinch for time, this isn't entirely necessary. I have done stuffed peppers without, a pre-cook on the peppers. It just leaves them a little bit more crunchy in the oven, so you can think about that. But this is a great way to introduce some flavor, and it softens up the peppers a little bit more, makes them a little bit more tender in the long run. So we're just going to let those kind of cook away for the next few minutes or so. I'm actually going to push these to the back burner, and we're going to begin heating a medium saute pan, a little bit of oil, and this is to saute our onions and carrots in, which we'll do here as soon as this gets hot. So we'll allow those peppers to kind of steep in the liquid, and we'll allow that pan to come up to the heat. All right, so at this point, we're going to drain our peppers. I'm going to set them on a rack to cool slightly. Okay, at this point we are ready to begin sauteing our onions and carrots. I'm going to go in with my onions first. And carrots. Season this, fresh cracked black pepper. Pinch of salt. We're really just going to kind of sweat these. All right, and then as those begin to work, we have our quinoa. The quinoa, the carrots, and the onions are all going to be mixed together and stuffed into the peppers. I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to use our blend of dried spices. Parsley, some paprika, some dried basil, some dried marjoram, thyme, and a little pinch of cayenne pepper. It might seem like a lot or appear to be a lot, but with all of this mixed in together, it'll be just fine. All right, at this point I'm going to go ahead and kill the heat on our carrots, and we're going to add those to the quinoa. I have our oven preheated to 400 degrees. We're going to stuff our peppers with this mixture. Just kind of fold that in. All right. Got our baking dish here. A little bit of oil in the bottom. Arrange our peppers, skin side down. All right, next thing, I want to season the inside of the pepper. A little salt, fresh cracked black pepper. Add just a drizzle of oil to each of those, and then we'll add our quinoa. Got our carrots, our onions, our quinoa, our spices, the nice flavor of the vegetable stock. Okay, we're gonna pop these into the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. The recipe calls for a little bit longer. I actually cooked the peppers a little bit longer than it called for in the liquid, so they're already close to tender. You've got two options when cooking the peppers. First, when you are cooking them in the liquid, you can cook them almost all the way to tender so that you don't have to bake them as long as the recipe says, which is what I've done. Or you can just quickly cook them in the liquid, or even omit the liquid altogether and go into the oven for a little bit longer. I have chosen to kind of speed up the process. I made sure that they were very close to tender so that I'm just going to put them in the oven long enough to kind of get a nice char on them, to heat the quinoa mixture back through, and then we're good to go. So at this point I'm going to pop them into the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. Like I said, we're going to get a little bit of char on them, and then we'll pull them out and show you the finished product here in just a couple minutes. All right, we're ready to pull our peppers from the oven. Might actually put these under the broiler for a minute to crisp the top. All right, I'm gonna transfer these to the top rack and put them under the broiler on high, just to kind of char the top a little bit. And then as soon as I see the charring begin to happen, I'll pull them out because they are done. So we're gonna let those catch a little bit of char, and then we'll pull them out and show you the finished product. All right, we're ready to pull our peppers. All right, we'll plate this up and show you the finished product in just a couple of minutes.